staff members of the ministry and those from other ministries who are going to be part of the presenters, invited and distinguished guests, partners from whatever angle in the ministry, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all good morning. Good morning. It is both an honor and a profound privilege for me, a son of peasant farmers, and in Jaramatiti, born and bred in the rural Zambezi, consider it a privilege to stand before you as your appointed minister. It's a privilege that anyone of you can also help. As the Minister of Rural Development, this portfolio is entrusted with the very basic needs of this country. Because this is where the very heart of Namibia's required national transformation takes place. The place where policy meets people, where governance and expected accountability meets the ground, and where development promises made during 2025 campaign and election, during the regional local authority elections, should have and must yield tangible results for the electorate, as promised during the just ended elections. Based on this clear understanding and the desired need to remain accountable for our actions in delivering the services we promise to the electorate, I have termed the theme of this induction training, accountability, as the bedrock for effective governance, first and foremost, to achieve effective service delivery in regional and local authority councils. Allow me at the onset to congratulate and thank you all for being elected on behalf of your own political parties to lead the constituencies, being the regional and local authority constituency in Namibia. I want to take this time firstly to informally inform you that hence and during my tenure as Minister of Urban Rural Development, we will continually interact and consult on matters regarding regional and local government, including traditional authorities, in our government and governance capacities, not on our political basis. Secondly, to introduce and share with you the ministry's mandate during the tenure of the current administration of the Republic as dictated in Article 1 of the Constitution. Article 1 establishes the Republic of Namibia, where it states the Republic of Namibia is hereby established as a sovereign, secular, democratic, and a unitary state. Secular, democratic, sovereign, and a unitary state, founded upon the principles of democracy, the rule of law, and justice for all. Democracy talks about freedom. Unfortunately, democracy and freedom is mismanaged. We go for freedom. Let me repeat. If democracy is based on freedom of association, freedom of belief, but that freedom is mismanaged, then we are going for freedom in the country. And that's not what everybody of us would want to see, that we all die freely because we are committing suicide. So if it's founded on the rule of law, first of all, the rule of law, what is law? All of us here present, besides the staff members, all councillors took an oath on the basis of rule of law to uphold the laws of the Republic. All of us. So, and that Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, the President and the Cabinet, exercise executive powers over the unitary state of the Republic of Namibia. In terms of Article 27.2 of the Namibian Constitution. I hope you have your constitution here. Please read these things on your own. Because the unfortunate part of Black Africa is the taboo of not being able to read. We don't read, and therefore we classify that if you want to hide anything from a black person, put it in the book. Worst part, if you want to hide money from your kids, put it in the Bible and put it on the table. They have no time for Bible, they have time for cell phones. Therefore, Article 27.2 of the Namibian Constitution states, the executive power of the Republic of Namibia shall vest in the President and the Cabinet. Please read your Constitution, Professor. The executive power of the unitary state of Namibia vests in the President and in the Executive. Cabinet. Not any regional or local authority councillor, not even a member of parliament, but cabinet. I must emphasize that the executive power of the Republic is constitutionally not at a regional or local authority level. It's not there. It's a central government level. Hence, Article 40 of the Constitution states, because of that, Article 27 is 40 states, the members of the cabinet shall have the following functions: to direct, to coordinate, and to supervise the activities of ministries and government departments, including parastatal enterprises. So this ministry, therefore, has a duty to coordinate the functions of the regional councils, local authority councils, and traditional authorities. First job of the Minister of Health, to coordinate the functions of the various institutions following under this ministry. And therefore to supervise the same activities that regional councils, local authorities, traditional authorities are engaged into, must be supervised by this ministry. And in supervising, in coordinating, to direct where things are not going right, the ministry must direct. And then, in sub D of Article 40, it says, to carry out such other functions as are assigned to them by law or any incident of such assignment. There are some laws that assigns the minister, that assigns the ministry some functions. Few of these laws is one, the Regional Council Act, the Local Authority Act, assigns certain powers and functions to the minister of this ministry. Not to Sankwasa, but to the minister of this ministry. Because I have not been the first minister and I will not be the last minister. The duties and functions are assigned by law to the minister responsible for the ministry. For this time, when the president has appointed me into this position, then it's assigned to me. K is to issue notices, instructions, and the directives to facilitate the implementation and administration of laws administered by the executive. You get that? You have a constitution, is it? If I'm reading something different, please say so. To issue notices, instructions, and the directives to facilitate the implementation and administration of the laws administered by the executive, subject to the terms of this constitution any other law. Some people have thought, where does Sankwasa get these things he's doing? Where does he come from? For 35 years we were not used to these things. It's very unfortunate that the constitution that has contains these provisions is 1990. And we are now 2026. The constitution that states this exactly what must be done is in operation. But if we are coming to know these things in 2026, the question, what were we doing as Namibians? And as honorable councillors, some of you are not coming for the first time, you have been there as councillors already. Some may be new. But what did you read? When you said you took your oath, which one was the first in your oath? I'll protect the what? The Constitution. First, the Constitution, and uphold all the laws. And this is what the Constitution is saying, that the executive must do. In tandem with these constitutional provisions, the Local Authority Act 23/1990, as amended, provides for the powers of the minister, the minister can and shall administer over local authorities in Namibia and even regional councils. Article 41, therefore, further provides that all ministers who are members of the executive, as per Article 27, shall be, it's not may be, shall. It's preemptory, it's not by choice. It's not discretionary. It shall be accountable individually for the administration of their own ministries and the collective for the administration of the work of the cabinet, both the president and the parliament. If the Minister of Environment and Tourism is failing, it's not the Minister of Urban who must be blamed. If the Ministry of Urban is failing, it's not the Minister of Education that must be blamed. It's individual minister for responsible for that ministry should account. So the subnational levels of government are duty bound to adhere to the governance principles set up by the central government, because it's a constitutional provision which you took an oath to uphold and to protect. Director of proceedings, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, someone somewhere said, ladies and gentlemen. But he said, no, I was learning English. My speech is highly centered on the theme of this induction training as accountability, because of the Constitution saying individually accountable. Therefore, the theme of this training is accountability as the bedrock for effective governance. That's the foundation of effective governance. If you cannot account, then we cannot govern. Why accountability as a bedrock for the administration or governance of local authority and regional councils? This is because the daily cries of the Namibian people are for better and improved service delivery by all organs of government, irrespective of political affiliation, eradication of corruption in all its forms, and accountability for all actions we in government and the leadership take. Namibians are not asking for the impossible from us. They want what is considered fair, what is decent for quality, dignified life, and what every citizen in the democratic nation deserves. What is that? The creation of decent, stable jobs, livelihood opportunities in all sectors of our economy, by ensuring that the development projects, targets, and are reserved for the Namibian people. Development projects must target and be reserved for Namibian people. For too long, we have witnessed a preference of foreign nationals in the name of track record, as being entertained by procurement committees. Track record. Does this company have a track record? Where else did they do this job? And the cheapest price being offered by these foreign companies. But there is an underlying issue that those in procurement, COs, because not councillors, COs, must understand. What do you mean by a track record of a company? Is it the years that the company has existed? Is it the skills and competence that's possessed by the people of that company? What are you referring to the track record? You may have a company that was formed 5 years ago. The people still have only 5 years. That's when they started doing the job. But you may find a company that got registered in October 2025. with a better track record, because the owner of this company is a retired engineer. The owner of this company is a retired builder. So who has got 30, 40 years experience? But you are looking at a company, no, 2 months, 3 months, no. We can't give this. The company does not do the job, it's the person who does the job. Evaluate the personnel, not the registration time period of the company. If we give this job to this company, do the company have a capacity to deliver? The years of employment does not give capacity. Because we have so many people that are saying, I have 10 years experience, but they have only 10 years of employment. No experience. So when we deal with track record, we must be analytical. What do we want this company to do? Time for Namibia First has come. Namibia First. Not any foreign company. I'm not against foreign companies, but you must sit and analyze which job is so complex that we want to be done, and it requires people with high technical knowledge and know-how, that this will require a foreign company. Give that foreign company the tender, but on a condition that you look at what will Namibians benefit from this tender. This company must, not by choice, it must subcontract local companies who at the end of the tender period, those Namibians have equally acquired the skills. That's the condition. Who are the subcontractors? For 35 years, have Namibia produced one company that has gone international? That is able to tender in Europe? That's able to tender in China? Have we as a country? 35 years. If 35 years we are failing, how many years are we waiting for? Because to graduate at the university you need 3 years or 4 years. You have 5 years, you have a master's. Why don't we have a master's already in 35 years? Time for Namibia First is now. It says that charity begins at home, but it does not end there. Let's not be seen because of brown envelopes. Brown envelopes. Foreign companies are having an upper hand over Namibian companies. And when politicians try to intervene, political interference, this is procurement. We are the procurement committee. You must understand that politicians are there to set the policy. If the policy says, this is the type of companies we need, Namibian companies, they don't tell you which company, whether Sankwasa's company or whatever. They are simply saying Namibian companies. If you come with a foreign company and they're saying no, they're not interfering, they're intervening to correct the situation. So let's understand these two things. Administrators, if anything has damaged Namibia is the procurement. Where no councillor sits in the procurement committee, where no minister sits in the procurement committee, but staff members who don't want to work hand in hand with the politicians. It is said that charity begins at home. Our procurements must be geared towards the very clear objective. In Section 2 of the Procurement Act, Section 2, if you have that act, go there. I'm challenging those that are in procurement, the CEOs and your committees. Because Section 2 of the Procurement Act is clear. The first objective is to promote, facilitate and strengthen measures to implement the empowerment and industrialization policies of the government. Empowerment, empowering who? Namibians. Industrializing who? Namibia. Vision 2030, crafted by our founding father, may his soul rest in eternal peace, states that by 2030, Namibia shall be an industrialized country. Are we still on the road? Or we have already gone off the road? How far have you achieved and how much have you achieved? Because these policies are not just there for the shelf. They are there for us to implement, understand them and implement. Industrialization. Have we industrialized this country? Or not? As we keep coming in and off. And on this score, I want to qualify the following. Our politics in the country should be geared towards the development of Namibia, not individual. Not an individual. So, to promote, what, among others, the job creation of Namibian citizens, job creation. Look at the tenders that we are giving to foreign companies, which employs Namibians. How much do they pay them? They don't even observe their local labor laws. They pay them peanuts. Because why? They threaten them with dismiss out. If you don't want to go, this is my company. After all, no Namibian has got a bigger company like this one. Job creation. Our procurement, therefore, must be geared and aimed towards job creation, not consumption economy. When we endorse a tender, we ask ourselves, what job creation is going to come out of this tender? The empowerment of Namibian registered small and medium enterprises, women and the youth, by creating economic opportunity. If you have the procurement act, please go there. That's section 2. Now I'm asking you, before I continue, as a local authority, from the time of independence, or from the time the local authority has been established, how many women own the companies have you given a tender? So we're empowering women. How many? None. How many tenders have you given to the youth? But during the campaign, all political parties are saying, women empowerment. Where is the empowerment? Where is it? If you have not empowered the women, I attended a conference in South Africa, the Rail Conference, which was called SAR, South African Rail Association Conference, where companies owned by women, all the board, all the CEOs, and general managers are just mixed men, but the company is owned by a group of women. They are there. South Africa is already ahead of us. How many companies have we said, we want on this project, we want a company owned by women? Want a company owned by the youth? How many? We have not done anything in that line. Sourcing of goods manufactured, mined, extracted, or grown in Namibia. This is a very dangerous provision. Those that saw Ramatex was invented, right? Ramatex was manufacturing garments in Venture. Did you ever go there to see what is happening? The label at the back of the t-shirt and the shirts made in the window was never said made in Namibia. The label there at the back of the shirt, it was said made in USA. It's true. In Windhoek, Windhoek was USA. And why did it come that way? It was because if you say made in Windhoek, even in Namibia you say poor quality. Because that's how our minds have been framed. But when you say made in USA, yes, good quality. But it's in Windhoek. It's in Windhoek. So let's think, analyze issues. Because when Ramatex was operating from Windhoek, no business in Namibia could place an order directly with Windhoek office. You have to send your order to New York. Things are made in Windhoek, shipped through Wallis Bay to 2 years, then sent back to Namibia, made in USA. Time for us to understand that the fact that we are black in color does not mean our brains are black. Let's look at issues. Things manufactured in Namibia. How do we control that? Preferential treatment in the allocation of procurement contracts. Preferential. I think those that have attended training in procurement, you know what a preferential approach says. How many of you have attended this conference on procurement to understand preferential treatment in preferential allocation? Please raise your hand. Staff members, how many of you have attended this? And if you haven't, someone will take you through this week. Where you go for allowed or accepted discrimination. That's what the preference is. Allowable discrimination. Why? Because the Constitution has already put in place what is called affirmative action, not a discriminatory, not a crime. Affirmative action. We are using affirmative action in Namibia without critically asking, what action should we affirm? What action? You only hear about affirmative action when it's about to be promoted a woman or a man. That's not affirmative action. Considering the appointment of a woman and comparing a man and a woman is not affirmative action, it's gender balancing. You are not involved in any affirmative action. Go to the Constitution that talks about affirmative action. Go to the Affirmative Action Act of 1998. You'll get to understand that that act talks about accommodated previously disadvantaged. Now, 35 years we are still previous. When are we going to be present? Huh? So, therefore, price preferential treatment or allocation should be promoted by procurement. That's what the law says. It's actually a law. By going for preferential allocation, you're not breaking the law, you're actually implementing the law. So, going to read the whole section that talks about, that's section 2, as objective, why this act was done. Because there is no way our people are going to be taken out of poverty without proper implementation of the Procurement Act. There is no way. We shall keep saying we black people are poor. For how long? The law to empower people to move out of poverty and the duty to move Namibians out of poverty rests with you and me who are elected to do that. We have a duty. If we can't even account for how many women we have empowered, how many youth we have empowered, why are we there? Why are we there? We urgently need to revisit and reactivate cash for work programs, such as food and cash for work. During the course of this financial, which ends next month, the ED is here, we put aside 14 million for this program. We announced it nearly at every occasion. So there is money for temporal employment in this ministry. But nobody is forthcoming. The only one I saw was Katima Muliro, who engaged a whole week for clean up campaign. And each person registered none other than Katima Muliro ever used this. The money is here. It's a question of bringing the money to the people, and who should do that is us. Now you are aware. Now you are aware. The local authorities remain dirty. Instead of saying let's employ temporary workers to clean the town, to take the debris out of the streets, involve the business community to pick up those rubbles with those who have trucks, for the business community to donate even cool drinks for those that are working. as a joint approach to cleaning the town. We need to do that. The money is there. It's not being used. Cash for work. There are some vulnerable people in our local authorities who will say, I don't need money. Please give me food, but I'll do this. We need to do that. We are crying high unemployment in Namibia, but we are not looking at how do we address, even on a temporal basis, how do we get there? So now you know, going to do it. I have been on a number of occasions announced this, as I said, but please, no institution is forthcoming. Provision of decent, affordable housing and security of tenure is not by choice, but a direct duty, as is the bedrock of our local authorities' duties and functions. Provision of decent house. Many local authorities are not involved in the construction of houses because there is no budget. The budget will not be there. But the government has put in place a mechanism where you as a local authority, where a regional council can be involved in construction of houses. If you read section 30, sub 1 of the Local Authority Act, it provides, very, very clear, that subject to the provisions of subsection 2 and 3, a local authority council shall have the power, in the case of the municipal council of a municipality referred to in part 1 of the schedule 1, and which the prior approval in writing of the ministry or the town council or village council, to borrow money from time to time by way of loans from any source within Namibia. Are you doing that? But you are waiting for the ED. The ED did not give us money to build houses. There will be no money. Construction is a self-sustaining project. If you're going to borrow money to build houses, you will not fail to pay back that money. Because the houses you are going to build, you will sell them and the people will be paying for the houses. So what makes you to fail? Nothing. But local authorities are not constructing. Instead, we have land. We give this land to private developers. You give the land, most of the forms that I've signed, most of the approval I've signed, you find this land is only 39,000, 120,000. But now you go when this land is given to private developers. The land that was obtained at 34,000, 40,000, now it's 800,000 for this house. We are putting housing way beyond the reach of the common Namibian. Deliberately, because we are not applying our minds. If local authorities were constructing these houses, it would be just the price of 34,000 and the price of the materials to build this house. We could not get to 800,000. We could not get to 600,000. Because you will be contained. But we are doing that. Let's apply, let's read our laws and understand what the law provides. The law is very, very clear. You can borrow money. And I know there is one local authority. I don't know whether that is Oahu or one of the northern local, Otapi. Yes. I recommended Otapi Town Council to borrow money from Bank Windhoek, if I'm not mistaken, to build houses and to construct sanitation. The Minister of Finance was convinced. He went. It's done. It's doable. So let's not sit and say, according to the law, we can't do it. Which law? So, you can do this if you want to build Namibia. Therefore, in terms of our existing and enabling legislation, there is nothing that stops local authorities to be involved in the construction or provision of decent houses and other infrastructure development, even the streets. But I must tell you, I was so disappointed that two local authorities in Namibia got money from Road Fund Administration to do the streets in the local authority. They went and bought a uniform. So painful as it is. The streets remain with potholes. The money intended for potholes closure is taken for uniforms. We need to urgently address our urban and regional road infrastructure. It is surprising that there is no single local authority in Namibia without potholes. Not one. It would appear that the political leadership maybe have separate streets on which they drive in contrast the rest of the residents of a local authority, because they don't seem to see these potholes. Otherwise, why don't they see these potholes that all the residents in every local authority they are seeing, but the leadership don't see, and they don't address the problem? Some streets have swimming pools that are becoming swimming pools. It's not even potholes, they are swimming pools. What is missing there sometimes is just fish. It could be fish. We cannot run a country that way. We cannot. If you look at the dirtiness, and I think on Wednesday, if time will permit, I want all of us to drive around Swakopmund and Walsberg to see whether indeed we are living to the provisions of the law. Section 31 sub N of the Local Authority Act is amended. Go to that act, section 30, subsection 1, trees within a local area. Why is your local authority therefore full of dirt, bottles, garbage? I was told by one leader, you know why our local authority is full of potholes? Because of the sea. The water table is very shallow. I said, hey, is it true? Yes, yes. Our local authority, our municipality is just on the bank of the ocean. I said, very good. But when we got independence, and even during apartheid, this municipality was there on the same place. The ocean was there. Or has the ocean changed this place? Has the town changed this place? No. Why were the potholes maintained when the ocean was there? But now we use the ocean as an excuse not to maintain it. Is it a valid reason? No. We require local, reliable urban and rural infrastructure such as water, electricity, sanitation, and clean environment to prevent some preventable diseases like cholera. Namibians need an improved quality of life that allows families to live with dignity, raise their children with hope. Provision of decent, affordable housing should go hand in hand with the quality of service. Therefore, in this line, or in this event, as you sit here today, I am directing, because I have authority to direct, that before the end of March, all municipal accounts of our pensioners and our citizens who are physically challenged should be submitted to the office of the minister for possible write-off. We have to write it off. Why? Because such accounts come from the COVID period, when local authorities were directed by government not to suspend anybody's water. And they've carried it as a backlog. People are paying arrears. They can't finish because it's running for 2 years. And what do? When they are not paying, we bring in the Red Force. Come and cut people's water. And when I took a decision to say, those that have entered with Red Force contract must never renew that contract. Those that have not entered must never enter. I've been called all sorts of names by people in leadership. While the citizens were saying hallelujah, the leaders were saying, who does this guy think he is? Because it appears I was closing the tap for some leaders, both in management and at political level. But let me explain myself. Go and look at the Usury Act. U-S-U-R-Y. Usury Act. Go and look at that act. That talks about debt management. How should debt management be managed? There is nothing wrong with the local authority entering into an agreement with the debt collector. Nothing wrong. But there is everything wrong if the debt collector has to get money from the local authority and still get money from the debtor. Because that's what's happening currently. I'm sitting here with some invoices that I'll show you. Coming from Wallis Bay, wherein somebody is told, you have paid the debt here at the municipality, but you're still going to pay this 12% to the Red Force. Where does the law say? No residence in this country has got a contract with Red Force. Not one. The residents have a contract with the local authority. And that's what contract law talks about. The contract exists between the municipality and the residents, but not between the residents and the debt collector. The debt collector has got a contract with the municipality and the debt collector. And the residents are not third party to this contract. Why do you spirit to them? Because that act does not allow you to do what you are doing now. Is criminal at the local authorities. To hold debtors accountable to a private company when they never applied for water. When they bought this house, when they constructed this house, they applied for water or services to a municipality, not to a debtor. Not a debt collector, I mean to say. So, we must understand the law. That the contract for debt collection says, we as a municipality, we have people that are defaulting on payment. We have about 2 million outstanding. So come in as a debtor, collect this money on your behalf. Whatever money you collect per month, we shall either agree to pay you 5% of the money collected. That is the agreement between the debtor collector and the municipality. Nothing to do with the residents. But now residents are being charged double. Double. And I want to tell you, this must stop. Because it's illegal. I'm referring to that Act of 1968 as amended, the Usury Act. When you read it, it tells you how debt must be managed. Not the current way you are managing it. Because it's being managed in the current form because individuals are benefiting from the plight of the citizens as individuals. And you don't want to stop it because Sankwasa is trying to close the tap. And the tap shall close. The tap will be closed. Because I was wondering when I said this thing, the first people who defended the company were the councillors and the staff members. I was answering, where does your allegiance lie? To the company of the people that voted for it. So therefore, we must supply services in a proper manner, allowed by Act of Parliament. Because in certain instances you find that the water meters are removed by this debt collector and stored in their office. What does the law say? Nobody has got authority to be in possession of state property without treasury approval. Now, if these machines, water meters, are being stored by a private company on whose approval, these are state properties. My colleagues, my people, let's understand what the law is. State properties cannot be in the possession of private people. It's illegal. Authorities got a financial manager. Are they here? They have manager of finance here from local authorities. They are not here. Age analysis. Take the debt of every pensioner, every physically, or what you call disabled people, analyze and say, how much this person has been owing from 2021 to 2022, when COVID was done away with. How much does the person have? How much was the person owing during that period? This is what I'm looking at. How much did the person carry over to 2023, 2024? So that we deal with the COVID account. Because that's what I want to get written off. Don't go and say everything is lumped together. Give me an age-analyzed account to alleviate the burden on our people. And no local authority has power to write off the debt. Unless my law that I read is misled. Only the minister can write off that debt. On the approval of the minister, you can do it. Continued mushroom of checks in our local authority is not the answer to much needed housing and sanitation services. Mushrooming. On Thursday, I was with Honorable Councillor of Walls Bay. I'm not sure whether Walls Bay has got a formal housing sector or everything is becoming informal. Because you see where people have bought houses, but they allow shacks to be constructed in their yards. They construct, and these people, I'm told, when you are allowed to come and put a shack inside someone's yard, you pay per month rental. I'm asking, where are the municipal regulations governing management of the town when these things are happening? Where? So, my dear people, there are times when we have taken wrong decisions because of wrong principles. Sometimes we do these things to say, if we take a drastic step, they'll not vote for us. Is a vote better than the death of a person? No. We must do the right thing for our own people. When there is an outbreak of cholera, it's for everybody. The Ministry of Health must come in. Extra budget provision must be made to fight cholera. It comes from wrong decision, wrong management of the local authority. When there is sewage water all over the town, what do you expect the health situation to be? The demand for better service delivery is not simply a wish list from the citizens, but a developmental imperative which each one of us is still required to deliver without fail. It is the very reason this ministry exists. Development, That's the reason. The ministry exists. What is that development? Urban and rural development. We must effectively be dissecting what is and what constitutes urban development. What constitutes rural development? Who is responsible for urban development? And who is responsible for rural development? Ask yourself as a councillor, what were you elected for? Equally, I must ask myself, why am I a minister of this ministry? What happened to the promise that you just gave to the people, say, please elect me, I'm here for you? Where is that promise? Because that's the challenge we have. The moment we are sworn in before the magistrate, we seem to forget about that plan and the promise. Now it's just me and my family. Just me and me alone. We cannot develop a country that way. We were given instruction to construct 10,000 houses in Namibia. How many houses have we constructed since March? Since April last year? Have we constructed any house? No. What are we doing with that clear directive that we must produce 10,000 houses? If we are not going to go back to the Act and say, we need money to build houses, and the Act allows us to do this, we shall not construct the 10,000 houses. We shall not. And please, don't make the land so expensive because of your market price. Hello? Because you are charging market price. You have not even told the Namibians which market did you buy this land from. Which market? So therefore, if it's government land, it must not be put beyond the reach of the citizens of this country. And we shall revisit to the ministry before the end of the year the prices being charged by per local authority. We shall revisit the salary structures of this, every town council, every municipality, the salary structure. Because we have people that are crying for salaries, not crying for service delivery. Salaries. In some instances from the records I saw, they applied for salary increase. My predecessors, they already approved the 2%, but the municipality goes to implement 15% without any legitimate authorization. All in the name of political expedience, so that our people must be happy with us, they can vote in the next election. At the same time, the particular local authority does not even have money for infrastructure development. They want the ministry to move in and bring money. In terms of the Local Authority Act, development of the urban development is the full responsibility of the local authority. I share the conviction of the President that we must move beyond a culture of endless work in progress when there is no progress being done. We must move from the culture of viva viva. Viva does not bring bread on the table. You must viva when you have developed. The people we serve deserve to see change. They deserve to witness their tax dollars at work. And they deserve leaders who are responsive, accountable, driven by service. Those leaders are you and me in our various capacities. We must deliver. If we can't deliver, then we must ask ourselves, why are we still here? And if we can't deliver as local authorities, we'll go to Section 92 of the Local Authority Act. Good. Yes.
Subparagraph 1. The minister may, in writing, subparagraph A, delegate any powers conferred upon him or her or under any other provision of this act, including the power to make regulations.
Okay, go to 92 without A.
The authority councils to exercise or perform its powers, duties, and functions. 92, subparagraph 1. If, in the case of a local authority council, other than the municipal council of the municipality referred to in part 1 of Schedule 1, the minister is satisfied, subparagraph A, that a local authority council is unable to exercise the powers and perform the duties and functions by law conferred.
There is something that must happen. And those duties are where? Are in section 30 of the Act. So read what you are supposed to do and what happens if you fail to do it. Continue.
After conducting an ordinary audit or conducting an audit at the request of the minister.
Thank you. When the Auditor General, just 2 weeks ago, last month, the Auditor General reported local authorities' books have not been audited in the last 10 years. Some local authorities have not been audited in the last 10 years. And I was with the Auditor General on Monday. I was asked to give me a list of all the local authorities that have failed to submit financial statements for auditing. And then we have to critically ask a question: why should you receive a budget if you cannot account for it? Why do you have to receive a budget if you cannot account for it? Because the Auditor General is there to ensure that there is accountability. As a result, you will not get a budget approval. You better put your house in order before June for you to qualify for the next budget. No local authority that has not accounted for the finances of the local authority in the last 10 years will continue getting a budget. Until you account for what did you do with the money you were collecting and receiving from government. What did you do with it? Government is not a charity organization. It's not a charity organization. So clearly, we must understand that being addressed as honorable service delivery has not changed anything in the minds and vision of our people. To be honorable, one must do honorable things by demonstrating acceptable personal behavior, and the conduct as the first person you need to lead is yourself before you lead anybody else. To render proper and acceptable service as we promised our people. You can go to the next slide.
Given such local authority council an opportunity to submit representations to him or her, instruct such local authority council to take such steps in order to rectify the issues concerned with
the minutes of the local authority council meeting should be done what? Should be submitted to the minister. If I see it, I don't see any local authority minutes of your local authority, I'll suspect you're not holding any meeting. And what should happen is a failure to hold meetings. If you are failing to have it submit proper financial management records, I will admit there is financial mismanagement. And therefore, my office, not me, my office, will move in and not wait for the next election. Hello? My office will not wait for the next election, but remove you from that council. And a call for fresh elections. will call for fresh elections because you have failed as councillors. Because why do you remove the councillor? If you as councillors are going to sit, you don't hold your CEO to task. Where is the audited statement? Where is the Auditor General's report? You have become an accomplice. You have failed to supervise. Then I'll take direct charge of that council. And the CEO will answer directly to the Minister's office. It's not a threat. It's a fact I'm stating. The law is written so. This law is 1992. I was not a minister from 1992. I'm here from 2025. Because these are the failures of the local authorities. You fail to perform your duties, but you go around saying, I'm honorable, I'm honorable. If you got section 27(1) of the State Finance Act, as amended, all the money that you are getting is state money. Don't forget that. All the money that comes in the name of the state is state money, not private. As soon as practical after the end of a financial year, but not later than the end of the following financial year, the Auditor General shall transmit to the Minister the accounts together with his or her certificate and the report signed by him or her in connection with any investigation, examination, and the auditing carried out by him or her in terms of this act or any other law. Any other law, if you look at the Local Authority Act, you look at the Regional Council Act, it talks about the auditing and submission of financial statements every year. And shall, in the case of a statutory institution, you are a statutory institution as a local authority. At the same time, transmit a copy of his or her report to the executive authority of the statutory institution concerned. So the report of the auditor will be submitted to the council and the minister. That's where now, as the council will be free to say, why haven't you implemented the recommendation of the Auditor General in the last 10 years? Why is there no report? Where were you as council? You can say, no, we were just elected last year. But it's not an excuse. When you came in and took an oath for that council, you took all the cabbage from the last year. All the wrong things of the previous council is on your shoulders now. You cannot say we were not there. You are here now. Subsection 2 states, notwithstanding the provisions of subsection 1, the Auditor General may, in the case of municipalities and village management boards, submit instead of individual reports a summarized report to all municipalities and village management boards. Are we there?
Yes.
Sometimes we are failing to submit these annual financial statements because they implicate either the CEO or the councillors. So we rather keep quiet about it. But you see, the Bible is against corruption. Because in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 23, a wicked man or woman, for that matter, accepts a bribe in secret to pervert the cause of justice. You accept a bribe so that you do certain things in a wrong way. As a Christian nation, and when Namibia we are saying we are 90% a Christian nation, we are duty bound to avoid corruption in all its manifestations, be it in recruitment of personnel, promotions, procurement of goods and services. Effective financial management is a domain of and a cardinal duty of every member of council, particularly management committees. If you're going to look at section 26(1) of the Local Authority Act and section 27 of the Local Authority Amendment, clearly hold the chief executive officer responsible for the administration of the affairs of the local authority. In these few months I've been in the ministry, Comrade Edie, it has been brought to my attention. Whenever we are the council is recruiting a CO, most of the panel members are other COs from other local authorities. Huh? Yes. And these COs have formed a cartel. The COs of this country have formed a cartel. Wherever they are used to be members of the panel, they know who to recommend to join them. To join them with what they are doing. That one will change. So COs, don't think we'll go to that interview panel, which that idea used to have. It's going to change. We have a country, a unitary state to run. Unitary state for everybody, not for a certain few individuals. And when I went against the Bible in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6, it says, my people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. God is worried. What is destroying us? Lack of knowledge. And why don't we have knowledge? We fear to read. We don't have time. Even if you go to most rich people in this country, even in ministers' houses, you don't find a library. Very prominent people don't have libraries in the house. They have a back corner. They have a corner where you have all the bottles of wine, different wines and stuff. That's the only thing that sets them apart. Not a library to read. We must develop a reading culture so that we try to understand the parameters of our jobs. It is simply again further said in the Proverbs chapter 29 verse 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Africa is perishing. Namibia is perishing. Because despite that the founding father has said Vision 2030, we don't seem to see that vision. Hence Jesus said, somewhere in the book of Matthew, eyes you have but you don't see. Ears you have but you don't hear. I don't know, this is how I read my Bible. I don't know how you read yours. What exactly did he mean? That you have two eyes but you don't see? What did he mean by that? Colleagues, good governance is not a favor. It is a duty. Good governance is not a favor. You're not doing anybody a favor to do good governance. It's a duty that we must do for this country. Why? We must be wary, particularly black people. I'm not shy to say so. If you look at the international world today, you don't have white people that are refugees. Have you seen one? White people that are refugees. It's black people who are refugees. You can't find whites that are refugees. I'm not a racist, but I'm stating a fact. There are no whites that are refugees anywhere in the world. Why? Did God make a mistake to make us black? Did he stop us from reasoning? No. You don't find whites that are foreigners. The whole world. Start examining and look at yourself as a black person. How are we contributing to this situation as black people? Even before independence, the towns were separated. The white suburbs were clean and everybody wanted to be there. All of us wanted to be there. When we got independence, instead of saying, why did you want to go to the white suburbs? If they have that standard, why don't we transport that standard, transform it to, or transfer it to the black suburbs? then everybody in Swakopmund is the same. Everybody in Walsby is the same. Everybody wherever is the same. But what do? Majority of us, we rush in the white suburbs. And when we bought houses, the first thing was to remove the lawn. And then remove the trees. Huh?
It's true.
What is wrong with us? Let's fight to bring the locations to the standard of the previous white suburbs. Then everybody in that town is happy. But not to bring the standard in the white suburb to the standard of the location. No. It's not right. Let us stop leading by slogans. Let's lead by physical examples that are there. And as your minister, I will stand by you throughout the space that I'm here. Where transformation is required, let's transform. Let's transform. We cannot be happy with what was happening yesterday. Transformation is important. During the Alan meeting that was held in Swakopmund, I gave an instruction that let every local authority submit to my office all outstanding bills for government ministries, for bigger businesses, to be submitted to my office. That was last year, before the end of May. It was never done. And when I checked even with the current local authority leadership, I found the reason why it was not done is because the councillors are owing. Honorable councillors are owing. The staff members themselves are owing. So don't inform the minister. But you see, we go and close the water for a person owing 1,000, 2,000. We close it, ready for us, go and close the water. But people that are owing hundreds of thousands, it's okay. Their accounts are never submitted for debt collection. Why selective service delivery? Why targeting the smaller fish? Why? Why targeting the smaller fish? So I therefore gave an instruction already in writing that every local authority must submit to my office the list of all the new councillors and even what they are owing. Some local authorities have done that, some have never done it to this day. Because in some councils, I realized that all the local authority councillors are owing the municipality. That's why they really need to go and stop the bills. So that instruction still stands. I want a submission of all the bills, financial accounts of the newly elected sworn councillors. Some councillors are not owing anything. Some councillors are not owing anything. That's the reports that I've received from some local authorities. Some are very clean. But now we start wondering, why are others not responding? When I said this statement, someone said, hey, Sankwasa is even owing also no water. Hello? It was not my duty to tell Namota to come and get their account. Right? But it's my duty to make sure that I collect for the town council. Yes. You get that? Yes. It's not my duty to tell Namota to come and collect their money from me. But it's my duty to make sure that you pay what is due to them. So the relevance of that, I don't know. And you know, I was forced to check just last Monday I told my son, go and get the history of this Namwat account from the time your grandmother passed on. Now, I'm not owing that amount. It was a political gimmick. Just to fight me. When my mother passed on, it was 118,000. I paid 100,000. It was only 18,000 left, not 174. That's what I have on record. So I'm saying, therefore, anybody who wants to think by so doing, you are going to stop Sankwasa from doing what he's doing, is wasting his time. Because such cheap policies will never stop you from doing what I'm supposed to do. Never. So colleagues, those honorable councillors that know you are owing, go and start paying. Make arrangements with your CEO how you finalize this account. Simple as that. Finally, colleagues, we are not political party functionaries in the regional local authority councils. We are not party functionaries. Whether you're a coordinator of your political party, whether you're a mobilizer, or whatever position you hold in your political party, when you enter the premises of the council, you are a councillor. You are a councillor. Not a coordinator, not a secretary general, no, you are a councillor. And you can't enter the doors of the local authority council regional before you have promised the world, before you major say, I'm going to uphold the laws. That's your promise. I'm going to uphold the Constitution and defend the Constitution. You made that promise. Therefore, since you promised, you qualify to be a councillor. When you violate that oath, you get disqualified. You get disqualified. We took an oath. We must therefore leave our party politics outside when we enter the council's doors and perform government duties and functions for which we took an oath of office. We must perform our obligations as a collective with a different approach. You are not IPC in this council, you are not SWAPO, you are councillors, equal. The only difference is that there is a mayor with a chairperson, there is a deputy mayor, there is a chairperson of the management committee. That's the only portfolio that differentiates, otherwise you are all councillors. When you come to my office, don't come as SWAPO, because I'm not the Secretary General of the party. Come to me because you are coming to see the Minister of State. And in that line we shall talk. In the other line, sorry, I refer you to the relevant office. Because then you will come to the wrong office. It is said, if you continue to do what you have always done, you always continue to get the results you have always had. Therefore, changing what and how we are to do things and perform our national duties is inevitable. In conclusion, with these many words, I now have the honor to declare the induction training officially open.